Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome. It's Chris Williams driving the Christmas bus here today. Merry Christmas Eve on this wonderful December 23rd. And with me today, Dr. Alice Benton.
Hey, folks. Steve, if you could take that bus, Chris, if you could take that bus a little slower on the corners.
That's
going
right.
a little fast for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Delivering presents. And Becky Brown. Is Becky Brown there yet? We may be waiting for Becky Brown as she is going to be sent in from her home, but she'll be joining us shortly, hopefully. But this tends to be that day, at least around our home, where it's like we're scrambling, like to get the last second things done. And I always find this weird juxtaposition or contradiction between what may have been happening the very first Christmas and how we are living our lives today. And certainly there was some scrambling that was happening to find shelter, to find safety and security for Mary and Joseph and their new baby boy to be born. But I imagine the pace of life to be a little bit slower. But what can we do to slow down and to really take in the significance of what it means for us as Christians for Christmas to be a reality?
I like that example, Chris, because they were scrambling for the most necessary things, and they let go of the rest. And that's what we need to hone in on, too. We start scrambling over things that really don't matter in the long run.
Yeah.
We get stressed, anxious, irritable. Maybe I'm just talking about myself here. But when we focus on family and loving and the Lord and what this holiday truly means of Jesus coming into the world to eventually to save us, that helps us to slow down and not worry about the things that don't matter as much.
Absolutely. And I just think back to a song we referenced in an earlier show earlier this month. And it really, I love the line, I'm captivated by the line this Christmas season, "A weary world rejoices." And really throughout this season of a global pandemic, financial or economic stress or family stress, all of the different stressors that we have in anxieties that we have encountered, I've just seen that our system, our collective energy system as human beings being depleted. We have been treating a lot of depression in our practice this last few months, truly reflective of a weary world. And so this Christmas season and these next couple days, I encourage you to slow down and find and discover and search for and pray for the things that you can truly be thankful and rejoice over. Because Christmas really is about recognizing that we are a weary world, but there is reason to rejoice. And obviously, the light and life and love that Jesus brings into the world is significant in our rejoicing.
And please take a little time for self-care today, because we need to refuel in order to be able to love well through the next couple of days. And it's going to be tough at times. There's going to be a lot going on. And if we allow ourselves to stay too weary without refueling, we're putting ourselves in a risky position.
Absolutely. We can't wait to give you or talk to you today. Give us a call. And please know this, that we are here to help you. And we're to bring hope and healing in life's darkest places. And know that if you're in a dark place, you are not alone. And that is the Christmas story. It is about being the darkest time of year and light shining into that darkness. And that's what we're here to do, is to bring light into those dark places. So can't wait to give you a call, or you give us a call, us talking to you. And we're going to be back right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Southern California February 11th to the 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we're going to go straight to the phone calls. We're going to go to Lisa in Saginaw, Texas. Lisa, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're listening on KWRD. Am I saying that right? All those letters put together.
You are.
Excellent.
Or you can just say the word 100.7.
The word, I like that. The word 100.7. If you're in Texas, check it out. Great station. Lisa, how can we help you today?
So I'm getting into my car. So it's a beautiful, beautiful day, but it's extremely windy. Okay, so I have a blended family. I married a man, my amazing husband, 3 years ago. He has 4 children who are all now adults. And we're having a rough period where there's grudge holding, there's no reconciliation. My husband's heartbroken because the oldest has said, you know, I don't want you in my life right now.
Wow.
And the others aren't. They have us around, but you can tell there's tension.
Yeah.
So I just need help with all of the brokenheartedness that my husband is going through, I'm going through, as far as how do we figure this out, health and reconciliation. I will tell you, I'm the polar opposite of their mother. And I will say this because I have a very large personality. I'm a go-getter. My son was a staff sergeant in the Air Force. I'm very like, you got a dream, I'm behind that dream, I'm your biggest supporter. So they witnessed some of that with their youngest who lived with us.
Yeah.
And thought it was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not encouraged and then you see someone come along and encourage you, it almost seems fake or weird or uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
And the 2 eldest are on anxiety medication for anxiety and depression.
Okay. So what's the question for us today is how do we, what do you do about this situation? What do you do about?
How do we become a family that doesn't want, with people who don't want to be a family?
Well, Lisa, if we were able to speak to your eldest stepson and we asked what his biggest injury or complaint is having to do with your husband, what would you guess he would answer us?
So Chris is very, he's an avoider. So I believe, just from my own opinion, I think his son would say, you're ridiculous. You're crazy. You aren't a great dad. And you weren't there for me when I needed you, which, you know, Chris will always say, yes, I was.
Was
you know,
there,
like,
was
of course
there,
I was there for you.
Was their mother verbally abusive and their father didn't stand up for them enough as he was an avoider?
No, she actually left him for another man while they were married, and she married someone who was, traumatically verbally abusive. He changed all their names from their, Yeah.
And
he
did they
changed their name.
live full time with their mother and their stepfather?
Yes, until by the grace of God, someone called the courts and said these two do not deserve these 4 children.
And then what happened?
And then Chris got custody of them.
Hi, Lisa. It's Becky Brown, and I don't know if Chris.
Hi.
I don't know if
Yes.
Chris and Alice know I'm here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm here.
Becky, jump in.
But I'm thinking, Lisa, these kids don't know how to connect, and so the expectation might be misplaced that they would be able to do family in a way that you might be used to, or even that you expect. And I wonder if just connecting with them first and seeing how that will go, because they've got a lot of history where people are not trustworthy, especially their parents. And unfortunately, you are one of the parents now, and especially because they're older. But I think if you have an expectation that you guys are going to be together, you have to be kind of get in that safe space of, we know each other, we trust each other. Now let's see where we're going to go with this.
Okay.
So Lisa.
Well, I also want to tell you that, the son invited me. The son did not want to have anything to do with me, and then he had a change of heart and let me come to a birthday party, and then now we're back to square one. He doesn't want me to step inside of his house along with his father. So we get these, grandiose highs.
So Lisa, let me
lows.
jump in. Let me jump in. These children are deeply wounded.
Yes.
Well, they're adults too, Chris. So it's not even.
Yeah.
It's the change is going to be harder.
Yes, absolutely. And so in that wounding, anyone who is a part of, whether that be primary, secondary, or tertiary, a part of that wounding, is in the way of their firing range. So. So you're coming at this. So hear this well if you can. You're coming at this of like, how do I fix it? And my first answer to you is you don't, because you can't. Because part of it as well, it's like I can hear your frustration. Hey, they're on anxiety medications. My husband is an avoider. There's these sort of labels that are placed on there. But the question that's not being asked and received with humility is, what is it like for you to be a part of this family? What is it like for you to experience me or experience your dad? Now, they may say a lot of things that could even be hurtful. But if you defend and correct them, you have immediately shut down their hurt and their wounding and who they are, and any chance at reconciliation is now gone. And so these children, and I hear you, like, you are such a go-getter. And I chuckle because I hear this from my own staff and my own wife at times. My drive is truly from a place of encouragement and possibility and wanting to see people succeed and move forward and grab hold of the possibility.
Yes.
But many of the people around me experience that as bulldozing. Okay? Yes. So I've got to constantly check that, because not everyone's going to have the drive or the motivation, and that's okay. They don't have to or need to. But am I bulldozing or am I inviting? Are they experiencing pressure or are they experiencing presence?
And to that point, Chris, if your approach is always the go-getter, then they're going to be automatically on the defense. Mm-hmm. And so you want to create some rhythms and routines so that they know that you are as consistent as the sun coming up every day. That will create an atmosphere of trust. I don't know what you've tried to this point. Are we touching on anything that has merit with you?
I mean, I've definitely been there for them. Job interviews. I'm driving them because they don't have a vehicle, or I've been very available to them. But it's more what Chris said. I mean, they're all adults. The oldest is 29. The youngest is 20. I raised the youngest for his last 4 years until he moved out. And I can see the depression and the down, always feeling down about everything. And I hate that. I hate that sadness.
And Lisa,
and all
Lisa,
of them suffer from it.
I think when you see that sadness, I think you try to cheer them up out of it, and you try to call them up out of it, which is a gift that you have, but it may not allow for the grief and the expression of anger and hurt that needs to take place before they can genuinely feel better. My impression of you in this call was that you whitewashed the situation for a little while before we got into how ugly it truly has been for these children. And I bet they felt completely abandoned by their father and then ripped from their mother by their father. Now, all that's not fair. And it may not be factual, but it's probably how they felt.
But it's the lived experience.
It is.
Yeah.
And you didn't lead with that.
Yeah,
and so I think, hold on just a moment. Wait just a moment.
Yeah.
I think they feel missed in their pain because you're so quick to cheer them up. Now go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, I was going to say that. So this trauma that they faced, the courts took them away because their best friends of the parents said, there's some disgusting things happening in this household. We believe the father should have them. So
At least I think you're doing with me right now what I think the kids experience from you as well. You're correcting rather than sitting with what probably they felt. Ripped from their mom, taken by their dad, abandoned by their dad. You're going to correcting. But if there's no connection first...
But does truth matter? Does truth matter? I don't know if details and truth matter.
So Lisa...
I didn't want you to I don't whitewash things.
Okay, so
I don't know if...
Lisa, what we're trying to explain is that the children, the adult children, these kids, their lived experience matters, and there is a reason they are behaving and reacting the way that they are. We're not saying it's always legitimate or even based on factual information, but it's true.
Okay.
And unless they have a safe place to be able to express themselves, their hurt, their pain, their frustration, the confusion, everything that's happened, if that gets glossed over or ignored or dismissed, they are going to then double down on their protest, meaning the hurt.
You know, Chris,
okay.
And here's the thing, Lisa, Steve says this all the time. You have a story, but it may not be the story. And we live out of those stories. And so what Alice and Chris are trying to explain is their experience from just this story is that they were removed, ripped away from their family of origin. You know the adult version because you understand that from an adult perspective. And in any of our lives, we all live out a story that we have in our head, and that narrative is very powerful. And so when we can be curious, we can create connection with people because we're not trying to correct. We're not trying to figure out what the real issue is. We just want to know more about how you are experiencing life. So I think that could be a step in that direction, just to be curious.
And How We Love gives the blueprint, Lisa, for how to do what we're talking about, where we slow down long enough and allow the story to be told, even though we disagree with the telling of it. But we hear the kids' hearts in it. And I want you to read that book and then practice the comfort circle with them. And it will keep you slowed down enough to be able to listen before correcting. And of course, the truth matters, but hear them first. The truth comes in a separate conversation.
Yes, I will say that I got therapy for the child that lived with me immediately.
Good.
I wanted him to have healthy boundaries. I wanted him to learn everything. So I called New Life. I have only been married to his father for 3 years, but the moment he moved in, we got him therapy, and I didn't have that relationship with the other 3 children.
Yeah.
You have done a great job coming into such a messy situation. You've done a great job loving on these kids. And what we're sharing with you will just...
Well, no. I didn't get to love on the 3. I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
The one that they've watched me be a mom to, they live in a different state. I've only been connected with the one, and it's almost like I'm bad for loving him and trying to get him well.
Okay, so
and I don't think I got to explain that.
So hold on. Yes, this is really good. That's really good, Lisa, because that's what Becky is talking about. The narrative that you're bad for loving that one, that's a false narrative. Whether it be them or you, so that can't be the narrative. That you're doing the best you can with what you've been given. In the midst of all of this, I want you to pay attention to the amount of fear and frustration, as well as the expectation. The expectation that you have around what these kids will do and not do needs to match the reality of the behavior that they're showing. That will mean grief and loss. They won't gel the way that we may want them to. But can we move the needle towards greater connection through empathy and compassion, and as Becky said, curiosity? That's what we're leaning for, and we will send you a copy of How We Love. Yes, thank you.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful.
I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Southern California February 25th to the 27th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Chris Williams in studio with Dr. Alice Benton and Becky Brown. And we were talking with Lisa, and just very, very tough blended family situation. I just want to mention a couple things. We're going to send her a copy of How We Love. Also, the author Ron Deal has great resources on blended families. And so he's been on the show with us before, part of a great ministry out of there in Little Rock. So we want to point to that. Also, we want to then be able to highlight a new parenting workshop. It's going to be a one-day workshop, January 29th, on fearless parenting. But this one is about doing life with your adult children. And so this would be a great resource for many of those who struggle with, like, how do we do parenting and family with adult children? It's a huge issue in today's world, and this workshop is designed specifically for you in that. So with that, we are going to go to our next call. We are going to go to Kathy in Boston, Massachusetts, listening on WEZE. Kathy, are you there?
I'm here.
Kathy, how can we help you today?
I just have a question. So my oldest daughter struggled with drug addiction for 10 years, and she was doing well, but last Christmas she passed away.
Oh.
And I know. So I guess what I struggle with is, do you believe that people with drug addictions go to heaven?
My short answer is I don't know, because each situation and individual is different. But do I believe that people with drug addiction can go to heaven? My short answer to that is absolutely. Because as strong as addiction is, it's not bigger than the covenant and grace of Jesus.
You know, Kathy, this is a big anniversary for you. She's been gone just 1 year, right?
Yes, this Christmas.
Right. And the first year after you lose someone is full of anniversaries. And it's interesting that this would be the question that you would ask. And I'm wondering, you know, how long have you struggled with this question? Has it been since before she died or just since she's been gone?
Well, my husband passed away 10 years ago, and she's my oldest of 8 children. And they were all raised Christian, and she was a worship singer. But after he died, she just started to take Percocets, and it went all the way to, you know, bad drugs. And I did the tough love. I did, you know, in Massachusetts, you can, you know, court order someone to get treatment. I did that 4 times. She just struggled, had low self-esteem, and then she married someone that was an addict. So I have her 5-year-old son. I've had him since he was born, and she was
so a lifelong struggle you've had.
10 years, and she actually was doing well. You know, she was on, you know, what they call maintenance, and which I was like, you can't be on that. You need to, you know, go. She went to a school of ministry last October, and when she came home, you know, she said, "Mom, I'm doing so good. God's helping me. You know, my name means victorious. You know," and so then when she went to sleep, unbeknownst to me, her doctor had given her some something to help her with anxiety, and you know, she didn't mean to do it because she was like, she came home to be with her son for Christmas, and we couldn't wake her up. And so I don't think she meant to do it, but I just always have that thing where, you know, obviously I want all my children to be with the Lord.
So, so Kathy, your daughter is safely home with Jesus.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But your daughter, I think, struggled with something that is we all tend to struggle with, and that is, how do we do grief?
Yeah.
How do we work and walk through the pain of losing something so near and dear to us? And unfortunately, grief can put us in a very vulnerable position to find coping mechanisms rather than caring mechanisms. So the coping is the medicator part of it that helps us survive the moment, but it won't help us work through the experience. In fact, it keeps us stuck. And so Becky, going into that, talking about, you know, we talk about anniversaries. I like to sometimes refer them to as traumaversaries or griefversaries, is that there's these reminders that come up, and that we're knocking on the door of Christmas as a traumaversary of the loss of your daughter. Now, then the key question becomes, now how do you work through this in a way where you're cared for well?
And Kathy, you may know that the Bible lists out some of the people that are in heaven, some of the forefathers of the faith. They're all sinners. Some of them committed some of the ugliest sins. And
some of very gifted sinners.
Yes, and the truth is we will all die having very recently committed a sin. And that's not what determines our salvation. What determines our salvation is the relationship, the faith, and our attempts to live by the Word of God. And it's apparent from what you said that your daughter was attempting to live God's way, and she was struggling to do so and doing so imperfectly, as we all are.
Yeah. So, Kathy,
I guess.
Oh, go ahead, Becky.
I guess I have a hard time with it. I did do the tough love, like I would do tough love 6 months, and then I feel like I just maybe was too hard on her.
Well,
to get
Kathy,
better.
I'm gonna address that right when we come back from the break.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., January 7th through the 9th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Kathy, and Kathy, our hearts are just breaking for two things that we know of in your life, and knowing that there's probably more, and that's the loss of your husband 10 years ago, and then the loss of your daughter a year ago. Becky, you were going to talk to her about sort of struggling with that. Did I do the right thing? What was the tough love the right approach?
One of the things that I think we need to encourage each other with, Kathy, is that she is at rest now. She had a struggle for so many years that you were part of, and it continues to this day as you are now raising her child, which is such a gift to him as you do that. One of the things I think can help us in our grieving is that we can trust that God loves our loved one more than we ever did, that he has grace beyond measure, and that we can exercise our faith to trust that they are in the loving arms of Jesus. When we can put that to rest, then we can live our life today and in the future for the greater good. Because I think sometimes that's what happens in our grief. And it's justifiable. Our hearts are broken. But we have this one precious life that we have to live. And when we lose others, we have to work through that grief. We have to feel that grief. But then we also have to trust that God loves our loved one more than we ever did, and has, the grace to give us each and every day to move forward. And I hope that helps you, Kathy, and I would encourage you to keep moving in that direction.
And Kathy, of course you were an imperfect mom who made mistakes. And everything you've listed out that you did for your daughter is everything we plead parents to do for their children. And so few are able to take that tough love stand that you did. And so I honor what you did for your daughter, and I thank you for it. You fought a hard fight for her life.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, Kathy, I definitely want you to hear that.
Let's send her the Life Recovery workbook for grief.
Yes.
Chris. I think that would be really good for her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I'm going to do the Steve thing and give her 2 resources.
Are you allowed? Wait a minute.
My hand is on the wheel. So So, but no, I absolutely. We need the Life Recovery Grief Workbook. We also need the Emotional Freedom Workbook as well. Yeah. We're going to send both of you. And as Becky said, I recommend the Grief one to work through that first. And I think that'll be incredibly helpful. And Kathy, our prayers, our thoughts, our hearts are with you this Christmas. We pray for great, great comfort and care as you walk through this anniversary and praying for the light and hope of Jesus' comfort for you and your family. So thank you for calling in today. And next, I'm going to go to Regina in Riverside, California. Regina, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi,
you.
No problem. Talk to us today. What's going on?
I lost my mom this year, March. So I'm also grieving her loss. And I'm also very, very worried about my son, who is actually 23 years old and doing cocaine. He's a cocaine addict, and he also has an alcohol problem. Like I said, he's 23 years old. He doesn't live here at home. He is employed. He has a very good career. He was a prior military, and he got out. He got employed, as a civilian for the Air Force, but now his choices that he's making will be followed by consequences like drugs, alcohol. So I'm calling to see what drug, alcohol treatment resources you guys could offer or you guys know of so I could help him see the light. I don't want to lose him. I lost my mom. I didn't lose her of drugs or anything like that, but it's just grieving, and I don't want to grieve him.
Yes,
I don't want to lose my son.
Of course
not.
Regina, would you tell us what has been the best attempt you and your husband have already made to try to intervene, and how did it go?
Well, the only thing I've done is talk to him over the phone, and that's basically all I've been doing, trying to counsel him over the phone, but I really haven't tried anything else. I'm attending Grief Share locally in my area, and I brought it up, to my group because there's some folks there who also are grieving the loss of their children due to drugs, so they are more than willing to help talk to my son. Yes.
Regina, I would also encourage you to get into either an Al-Anon or a life recovery group on codependency, just to get some perspective of how to help somebody who's struggling with addiction. Your son, addiction doesn't come out of a vacuum. There's some woundedness, there's something that's driving him to these behaviors. But we do have treatment centers across the country that we can connect you with if he would be willing to go. But I think, working your side of the street is what we say in recovery all the time. And, to go to something like an Al-Anon, Narcanon meeting where you're going to connect with other people who also have children and loved ones who are struggling with addiction can give you the words and the approach to how to help him.
Yeah. And so to that end, I love that you're already thinking towards intervention, because I think it's when people have more to lose, or more, even if that's a perception, losing a job, more consequences, it becomes harder for them to accept the gift of recovery and the opportunity there. And so interventionists work really, really well to help the family and the individual organize their lives so that what is in place can remain in place once they get back, and provide that smooth transition and motivation to get into treatment itself. So New Life, we work with a couple interventionists, and stay online. We will get you connected to those resources as well as the treatment center. And as I said, we talk about it often that addiction is a family disease, that no one gets out of that jail free. And so we work our own recovery around that.
And if one of the men who loves your son, his father, another male figure in his life, could be brought in lovingly into the conversation, so it's not just you counseling your son, and the interventionist would help with that. It always helps to have more than one voice addressing this kind of issue.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
So, Regina, we're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Substance Abuse and Addiction. And we're also going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible. And I believe both of those will be great, great resources for you. And thank you for calling in. Thank you for letting us be a part of this next move to get your son the help that he needs and deserves. So thank you, Regina. And
do you know, it reminds me, Chris, we just did a Life Recovery Today program with a guest who, Corey Busk, we're going to show that later. Well, it depends on what part of the country you're in, but it is previewed today on Life Recovery Today. You can look at liferecoverygroups.com, newlife.com, or NRB. Corey talks about doing the holidays your first year after recovery, without the drugs, without the alcohol.
Really, really important.
It was a great conversation. Corey gave some really great tips on, making new routines, having those support people who you need to connect with when, the family tradition is everybody gets drunk and you've quit drinking. That's going to be a tough Christmas to spend with each other. So I want to encourage everybody to, take a look at that. And any of our Life Recovery Today programs will encourage you in your walk in recovery, but especially at the time during the holiday times, it can be tough.
Yes, so that is on liferecoverytoday.net. So online, liferecoverytoday.net. And that's also appears on the NRB network, 11 Eastern time, 11 a.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. Is that right, Becky?
Yep, all of that is correct. I knew I was messing it up, but you have it in front of you.
I have the sheet. I have the information, so that's really good.
You have the wheel and the sheet. You are in charge, Chris.
The wheel and I have the gas pedal and I have the meter. And so
we're in trouble.
So speaking to that, if you're listening here today, you're seeing that what we're a part of and what we do is really life-saving. That could be saving a relational life, an emotional life, but actually a life itself. And we're just here to be a part of God's work in doing that, in bringing light and hope and life into dark places. We cannot do that without partnership. We cannot do that without you. And your gifts, and for those who have given, thank you so much. But we continue to need your help to keep doing what we're doing. And I want you to consider today this truth. It's not just a donation to a nameless charity. It's actually a partnership in the mission. It's a partnership in the work itself. That your giving is no less than what we do. It allows us to do what we do. So please consider a gift, especially coming up on year's end. We covet those. If you haven't given before, try it out. Try it out for the first time, and we would greatly appreciate that. And again, thank you for all those who have given, and we will be back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many
tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today. Living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're going to go straight to the phones. Our last caller today, we're going to go to Margaret in Sherman, Texas, listening on KWRD, otherwise known as The Word. So, Margaret, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. How can we help you today?
Yes, my son got married like 4 years ago, and her daughter-in-law has a brother who had and his brother has a long-time boyfriend I don't know for how long since I know her. But then last month we went to her place because it was her baby shower party, and I found out that they just got married. Just got married, and I heard also, not from the mother, but the mother paid for it. And I was really shocked, and I was really saddened, and of course, many people congratulate at that time.
So hold on, Margaret. Let me jump in. Let me jump in so I can understand this well. So your son got married 4 years ago, and that they've recently had a baby shower, and that her mom paid for the shower.
No. I'm sorry. My daughter-in-law has a brother.
Has older brother. Okay.
He's in a homosexual relationship, and they got married, and the mother is happy about it.
Yes. And the mother paid for it. I mean, of course, they didn't tell me because, of course, they know that I do not agree. So I was put in a difficult situation because everybody congratulated, and I cannot say it. And I just walk away.
Mm.
Did the family react to your lack of congratulations?
No, because, I don't know, maybe.
They didn't say anything to you about it.
But, I just walk away slowly. I mean, it's not like it's on the table or so. But, but that's okay. I understood. Some people say, well, because I'm not very nice to them,
So Margaret, let me jump in. So, what is your question? How can we help you with this situation here today?
Yeah, so that's all over happening. But my question is now that my granddaughter will be, a little girl, and I was just worried. I want to talk to the mother of my mother-in-law and my daughter-in-law, about how can we, I don't know. I want to talk to her. What happened if my granddaughter,
Is there something? Is there something stopping you from talking to her?
Yeah, because I don't know how to start with it. I mean, it's a child, right? It's a son, and then I don't want to control it too. But then I just worried, it will be her granddaughter too. And if the granddaughter look at the uncle, maybe wearing a dress, maybe or makeup or kissing each other.
Okay, so Margaret, let us help you out.
You're way in the future on this one, and I think the best way to do it. Well, but here's the thing.
The baby grow very fast.
Let's just do one step at a time.
Grow very fast.
They sure do. But let's do it one step at a time, though. The first thing you asked was, how can I approach her? And I think if you have any relationship with your daughter-in-law's mother, you simply would just say, wow, I was really okay, so then you just start with, I was really surprised. I had no idea. And, so if I appeared to be shocked, That's why. I just was really surprised. And just leave it open-ended like that. You're not going to fix anything by going in and sharing all your fears and your concerns. But then the other thing is, I would talk to your son. Your son probably knew all of this. And so for you not to know about any of it.
He just it seems like he doesn't really care.
And you're worried about your granddaughter's eventual exposure to homosexuality and how that might affect her? Is that right, Margaret?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm worried about that because, if they're exposed since early, and young age, eventually,
sure, it's a reasonable concern to have. Hoping, I think, that your granddaughter will be brought up in the faith and will share the beliefs that you have. Is your son a Christian? Is he a believer?
He is. Yeah, he's a Catholic, but then I'm far away. I'm in a different state. So I'm not there all the time.
Well, and here's the thing, Margaret. Your granddaughter will be exposed to homosexuality in her lifetime. It just is a reality of life. So the idea that you would shelter her forever that's not even a reality. But I think, the goal is to have good conversations with your son. It will increase your trust in his ability to raise her well and to handle any questions that she might have, and to be in relationship with people who think differently or behave differently. It is hard. It's difficult. But I think that especially if you're far away from them, it's going to mean that you have more conversations with your son and just hear about how he is raising his daughter.
And Margaret, I want you to process your anxiety with someone else, perhaps with a therapist, because you probably know you come across with an urgency. There's a speed to your speech. There's a speed to your thought process. And it's probably difficult for your son and your daughter-in-law to receive that from you. And so if you can process it, grieve it with a therapist, and strategize these conversations in advance, because if you can approach your son and daughter-in-law with a gentle, warm curiosity versus fearful urgency, they'll be better able to have an open discussion with you about it.
It's a great idea, Alice.
Yeah, but then what should what is the content of the conversation? Because my son is kind of
the content of the conversation is just is just your concern.
And you might ask your son, knowing that you're a Catholic, I'm curious, how is it for you that your brother-in-law is in an openly gay marriage? I'm curious how that is for you and how it is interacting. Start with those questions rather than pushing your opinion and your fear.
We talk about this all the time, that curiosity is the way to connection. Mm-hmm. If we go in with our fears, we're going to lock down that conversation. And so we just want to say things like, tell me more. Tell me more.
I tried. And usually what he does, he just ignores it. It seems like, he does.
Sure.
He just
so,
his head.
Margaret.
But I wonder, Margaret, if you do the same to him as you're doing to us right now, you go into that kind of fury. And it's understandable that you're concerned or you're upset. But I love Alice's suggestion. If you can learn to slow that down, you may be able to have better connection with him about this process.
So Margaret, we're going to send you a copy of the Emotional Freedom Workbook. I really do believe that under this there is some loneliness and some separation and some pain that you're carrying around and fears that are showing up, and which probably are very, very reasonable and understandable. But when we get more emotionally healthy and grounded, we become safer people to connect with, as well as to talk and listen to, and do those really, really hard things. As Becky was saying, is connect with people who think, believe, and sometimes behave differently than we do. It's amazing if we think of how often Jesus had to walk into situations with people who thought, believed, and acted differently than he did, which
Amen.
is every single one. But he did it well, and he did it through compassion, curiosity, without sacrificing his truth. That's what we're here to help you with. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.